At a time when the entire country of Russia is reeling under the pain of losing their loved ones, John Kirby is talking about salespeople carrying manure in their mouths. How stupid is that? Kirby thought that there won't be a fitting response to his shitty remarks, but in comes a stinging blow from Moscow that will perhaps put some sense back in John Kirby's head. We will tell you all about it, but before that, if you're a fan of non-corporate funded free news and analysis, you're on the right YouTube channel. Okay, let's begin. Russia is in mourning following the attack that occurred last Friday at Moscow's Crocus City Hall, which resulted in the deaths of at least 143 people. However, the leaders of the nation aren't just mourning. Their objective is evident. The Russian leadership has consistently placed the blame on Ukraine and its Western sponsors, even though a down-and-out IS has claimed responsibility for the attack. President Vladimir Putin did admit on Monday that radical Islamists were behind the attack. He implied that they were acting on orders from outside the group. The Kremlin is leaving its options open for the time being. Dmitry Peskov, its spokesperson, stated that talking about Russia's response was quote-unquote too early. Following a senior White House official's accusation that Russia was disseminating false claims linking Ukraine to a recent attack near Moscow, Russia has vehemently contested these allegations. The contention by Moscow is that attack might have been orchestrated by Ukrainian special services utilizing a faction of radical Islamists to execute it. Contrary to this, Washington has implored the global community to acknowledge the admission of responsibility by ISK, an Afghanistan-based faction of the IS. During a press conference on Thursday, John Kirby, the National Security Communication Advisor for the White House, dismissed Russia's doubts as nonsense and propaganda. Kirby likened the situation to an anecdote about his uncle, a small-scale farmer in Florida, who humorously remarked that the most adept salespeople of manure often carry their samples in their mouths, insinuating that Russian officials excel in spreading falsehoods. Maria Zakharova, the spokesperson for the Russian Foreign Ministry, retorted via a social media post implying that such proverbial expressions are absent in Russia because the practice of deceitful rhetoric is perceived to be prevalent across the ocean, particularly in the US. This, she suggested, is exemplified by the American saying to wash one's mouth with soap, highlighting a cultural divergence in handling truth and misinformation between the two countries. Mic drop. John Kirby had earlier highlighted a security notification sent by the US to Russia in early March, alerting them to a looming terrorist threat. Kirby emphasized during a press briefing that the US had provided Russia with clear, detailed information about the imminent attack, asserting the sole responsibility of IS for the incident. He further clarified that US had no advanced knowledge of the specific plot despite the timely warning. Russian officials, however, characterized the US alert as generally vague. The New York Times reported that the strained relations between Washington and Moscow limited the extent of information the US was willing to share, confined only to what was deemed essential. In a development, the Russian Investigative Committee disclosed that it had traced cryptocurrency transactions to the alleged radicals, suggesting these funds originated from accounts tied to radical nationalist groups in Ukraine. The identification of 4 individuals responsible for the attack, who were apprehended in a region adjoining Ukraine, added a significant layer to the investigation. A recorded statement by one of the detainees revealed an offer of $5,400 each for committing the atrocity, shedding light on the motivations behind their actions. It is being alleged by a certain section of media that this time Biden was telling Zelensky not to go ahead with the attack inside Moscow, but Zelensky went ahead anyway. Last time when Biden threatened Zelensky, the latter was quick to follow his boss's command. If you do not know what happened back then, here is a video that will explain everything to you.